How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the POV driving video for this new 2023 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I'm currently taking it off Sansone, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Chrysler's lot. I think I got the order right, I don't know, but I'll leave their website linked down in the description below. I just did the review for this new Grand Wagoneer, so go check them out. They were nice enough for me to take this off their lot today. Normally my reviews fall anywhere between, like, let's say 8 to 15 minutes, but I filmed for so long with this, so I don't know what the final time is going to be for that review video, but there's just so many things to talk about with this new Grand Wagoneer, and I really do love it. I remember back in the 2022 New York Auto Show, I saw the Grand Wagoneer in person and I guess the new Wagoneer in person for the first time. I sat in the interior, and that interior was actually the Tupelo color or Tupelo color, something, I don't know. I'll edit it in the screen right now, but it's like this light tan interior. Basically looks just like this, except it's beautiful. And I have to say this one is as well. Now this 2023 Grand Wagoneer, if you didn't see the review, first off, if you're looking for specs and like the numbers and a more in-depth talking of the car, go check out the review, because I know sometimes the POV videos, they reach a wider audience, and I'll get people in the comments, well, hey, you didn't mention this, you didn't mention that, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, I probably mentioned it during the review. So if you haven't already, check out the review. But this POV video, it's essentially just how I feel driving, you know, the vehicles. And anyways, going back to what I was saying, this 2023 Grand Wagoneer is actually the base trim. So underneath the hood, you do have the kind of dinosaur engine. You got that 6.2 liter overhead valve single cam V8, naturally aspirated. I think the MPGs are around like 13 during city driving and like 17 during highway driving, for a combined average around 15. Again, if I'm wrong on any numbers, I'll edit it in. Right now I have my notes thrown in the back with my camera and all my other stuff. What really got me excited when I saw these things at the 2022 New York Auto Show was the new twin turbo inline 6 Hurricane engine. Unfortunately, this is literally the only trim of the new Wagoneers that does not have that twin turbo inline 6. So essentially for the 2023 ones, the base one had this engine, the Series 2 had the Hurricane, the Series 2 Obsidian had the Hurricane, the Series 3 had the Hurricane, the Series 3 Obsidian had the Hurricane. So 4 out of the 5 of the different trims did have that Hurricane. This one didn't, which is kind of annoying because I really wanted to talk about that a lot, but I mean, it's still fine. Now I do have to say, I think that with the Hurricane engine, even though this Grand Wagoneer with the V8 drives incredibly smoothly as it is, with that inline engine in there instead of like the V pattern, I feel like it's got to be even smoother. But yeah, just looking around the interior, that's really where I spent the majority of the review talking about with this new Grand Wagoneer. And you can see we have the home screen just while we're at the red light. It kind of shows you where you're at, as well as the radio station, and then the media is like full radio. Climate controls, which I do have the air on a little bit. Sorry if it affects the audio, but it's kind of hot outside. Navigation, you can connect your phone. And then this I really wanted to talk about, because so first off, you go into this vehicle kind of menu and you have your controls and then your off-road control. I don't know if, yeah, all right, okay, good. So it shows you your steering angle. Obviously right now the transfer case is unlocked. Rear axle, that's unlocked right now. You can all lock those as well. And then if we go in there, you see the coolant temp, oil pressure, trans temp, and battery voltage, which I think is freaking so damn cool. For me as a motorhead, I know this is probably not going to appeal to the general audience that would be buying this new like luxury SUV, but I think that that's badass. And then over here, which I think is really cool, you can actually see the pitch and roll. It's definitely a lot more accurate when you're stationary, which you can tell right now. It actually is changing as we drive, but overall when I actually had it parked, it's more accurate when you're actually parked. But underneath that, you can actually see your actual freaking coordinates, like longitude and latitude and altitude as well. I think that's so damn cool. For me, I love this new Grand Wagoneer, number one, because when Jeep originally had the Wagoneer nameplate, essentially it was around, I think, the 1963 to 1993 model years, and then they stopped making them. They discontinued them. And then for the 2023 model year, that was the first year they reintroduced it back. And I think they did a fantastic job of doing it. I mean, now it's basically competing against like your Escalades, your Suburbans, your Navigators, just to name a few of the more I guess, luxury full-size SUV. I know Suburban might be a bit of a stretch, but I know, you know, the higher trim Suburbans are kind of luxurious, but definitely more like your Navigators and Escalades for sure. And I have to say, this is a serious competitor to those models on the domestic market. I mean, right now you could see the giant infotainment screen. You can see how easy it was for me to kind of scroll through everything. I do have to say, for a brand new infotainment screen, like when I click it, that's kind of a bad example, but before, when I was messing around with it, there was a little bit of a delay input. That's probably just because I was clicking it way too much or whatever. And out here you can see this screen. This kind of controls all your lumbar supports for the seats. You can actually have a massage option, so you can literally have massaging front captain seats for these two seats, which is so damn cool. And then right here, well, actually here you could turn the screen off, and then this button right here will actually lift the screen up. I talked about this in the review, but I don't really like how the buttons are, because see, right now this is a perfect example, but here it actually vibrated. It lifts the screen up. You got like 3 different USB ports and then an HDMI port for the passenger screen, I believe. And then you also have 2 screens, one here and then one right behind me, for the 2 captain seats in the second row. Now, this Grand Wagoneer is not the L, so it's not extended in the rear. So you still do have 3 rows of seating. It does seat 7 very, very comfortably, because I mean, it doesn't have a middle seat for the second row. It has basically like an armrest, kind of like this, with some cup holders, but it does seat 7 very, very comfortably. While I was doing the B-roll for the full review, I sat in the second row, I sat in the third row, had no problem. For reference, I'm 6 foot tall even, and I'm around like 205. So I'm not super, super big, but I would say I'm pretty much average, like an average adult male size, and I was very comfortable in the third row. However, with the regular Wagoneers, or the Grand Wagoneers, when that third row is up, you don't have as much trunk space as you would think. That is where the L's come into play. If you want something with all this seating and everything and extended in the rear by like, I think a little over a foot, you get the L, because the L, you have like a full-size trunk even with the 3 rows up, and then when you do have the third row down, you probably have so much damn cargo space. Again, unfortunately on Sansone's lot, they only have a few of these 2023 Grand Wagoneers, and all of them actually are the base trim, so I couldn't even talk about, like, you know, the Hurricane and all the other stuff that's cool with the other Grand Wagoneers. And also, going into the name, I know there's basically the Grand Wagoneer and the Wagoneer are 2 different models, and then with those models you have a bunch of different trims. So to kind of simplify it for you a little bit, for the different options, you have the Wagoneer, the Wagoneer L, the Grand Wagoneer, and then the Grand Wagoneer L. All the Grand means is the interior option. Has nothing to do with the size or space or drivetrain. So they pretty much share everything except for all these kind of like luxury amenities that you get in the Grand Wagoneer. That's really why the Grand Wagoneer basically excels and kind of shines when we're talking about the interior. Another little detail that I talked about in the review, and I literally love so much that I have to mention it in this video, even though it doesn't have to do with the interior. If you trace back the roots and kind of origin of Jeep as a manufacturer, you can basically trace them back to World War II. And obviously, you know, their role with like the Willys Jeep and everything with the American military during World War II. If you look on the exterior of this Grand Wagoneer, I'll put in some B-roll right now. On the front driver's side door, you have the Grand Wagoneer, and then you have like a little American flag. Normal American flag, no big deal, whatever. Except on the passenger side, you have the same thing, Grand Wagoneer, except an inverted American flag. Essentially, if you don't know what that means, just look at modern American military uniforms. If they have it, I think on their, I guess it would be right shoulder or maybe left shoulder. I might be mistaken. Comment down below if you know more about it. But you can actually see that same inverted flag. And essentially that kind of symbolizes the flag flying into battle almost. So I think that that is such a cool, like, little design feature that I honestly have not seen on other Jeep models. I could be mistaken, but I haven't seen that on any of the Cherokees or anything, or even the Wranglers. But I think that's such a cool, like, little callback to the origins of Jeep and how they pretty much started. Basically started with military manufacturing during the Second World War. And now going back and shifting focus back to the main topic of this video and looking at the interior, you do have the wooden kind of panels that cover up the kind of front two cup holders here, and they are very, very large. Definitely an American car. You got huge cup holders so that when you get a like super sized Coke from McDonald's, you can fit that right in there. I'm allowed to say that though because I'm American. But then you have a wooden trim basically on the door panels as well as right here. I really love the look of it. Again, I like the light tan color for the interior a lot more than like this black leather, but I do really think that the black leather with like this dark wood finish on the different panels flows very well also. Another little feature about the interior before kind of wrapping up today's video, you do have the Macintosh, or yeah, I hope I pronounced that right, but yeah, Macintosh kind of surround sound system, so there's plenty of different speakers. Before, when I actually took this Grand Wagoneer off the lot and drove over to the spot where I do the B-roll at, basically when I started it up, the music was already playing and it was set to a jazz channel of all things. And I was sitting in here with the AC bumping, relaxed in the cabin seat, playing jazz. I don't even freaking listen to jazz. But again, while you're driving this thing, I feel like it doesn't feel like a Jeep at all. I drove an Aston Martin DBX on the channel. That was great. Although I do hate how they kind of just copy and pasted the interior design from the DB11 and just put it in an SUV and called it a day. I've done an Escalade on the channel, so I've done multiple different luxury cars or luxury SUVs on the channel. But this is probably one of, if not my favorite, new modern luxury SUV on the market today. And I love the fact that it's a Jeep, and I love the fact that they brought back the Wagoneer nameplate after so many years of not using it. I know this is a bit of a shorter video, and I'm kind of it's very opinionated, and I'm talking about how I feel just while driving it. But if you haven't already, definitely be sure to check out the full review. I'll leave the link to it in the pinned comment down below if you scroll down, and that video is definitely going to have a lot more info and stuff and not be as opinionated as this video. But if you stuck to the end of this video, definitely be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Helps me out a ton as a smaller car channel here on YouTube. And also, if you're in the tri-state area, New York City metropolitan area, and would like to check out maybe this particular Grand Wagoneer, head over to Sansone Auto Mall's website. I'll leave them linked down in the description below. I've worked with them plenty of times in the past. I've worked with their Toyota dealership and now their kind of Mopar dealership, and I have to say I've had no complaints. Everyone's been super nice and cooperative to me. But yeah, that's pretty much just gonna wrap it up for me today. Like always, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did driving this Grand Wagoneer, and I will see you guys in the next one. Maybe just one little pull here. Finish off the video. Even though I hate it on the V8, I still do love V8s.